Back again. Episode 2.
Back again, episode 2.
How's your day?
I was just about to ask. I was about to ask how your week was. It's good. Good. Got a lot of stuff done today. Got a lot of stuff done.
Man.
Yeah.
Bro, do you mow your own grass?
Yeah.
You should get a medal. I don't mow my own grass.
No.
I'm like,
No, I don't. No.
you don't hire a service, you mean?
No, it's too much work. Too much work. We have a lawn guy, and I just do my own pesticides.
So you do have a lawn service?
We do. Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
When you said lawn work, I thought you were mowing your own grass.
No. Well, I mean, no. Like lawn work as in there's trees in the backyard and the front yard. So I had to go to Home Depot, get a stump remover. Basically, it's like a insecticide, not an insecticide.
Uh-huh.
Is it an insecticide? Pesticide?
Peptide?
It's a pesticide. It's a chemical that just deletes the plant off the map. So you got to cut into it. You get a nice good chunk of fresh wood, and then you just pour it on top. So
yeah, anthrax for the plants. That's the way.
That's it, dude. It's anthrax for the plants.
Yeah, the grass was getting so long at my house, and then I was like, I'm never gonna buy a mower, and then I got to go get gas, and it's gonna stink up the car, and I got to get a weed eater and an edger and a blower. And I'm like, I'm just not going to do that. So yeah, I hired somebody. I want to hire someone to start cleaning too. The less I do, the better.
Yeah, we were going to get a cleaner, and we got it quoted for $300 a month, and then the first clean is a deep clean, and it was $800, and I was like,
that's kind of a lot.
Do we want that? You know what I mean?
Probably. That's kind of a lot, man.
Yeah.
$300 a month.
$300 a month. Yeah, I mean, Brittany and I clean the house together, and by Brittany I mean Brittany. So. Started peptides again, so that's nice. Started a peptide cycle.
That was one of my things on my notes. I was gonna say it wasn't my first thing, it was my second thing. I was like, we could go over like what we're taking now. And then I really want to get into why GLP-1 is the only one that's ever worked for me. I didn't feel much from Retta. I haven't felt much from Motzi. Have I taken any other ones? I'm going to be starting the AOD 67 or whatever it is. And then the other one, the Tessa.
Tessa Morello.
I think that's the one. And then, yeah, man, I was really pumped up about, the retatrutide. But I see people that are like just shredded from it.
Yeah.
What do you think that is? Because I looked it up, and they're saying it's not unusual to not get energy if you're in a caloric deficit. And this is, people that are on Retta and Mod-C, if they're in a caloric deficit, it's not unusual that they get no energy from it. And I'm like, well, all these people on the retatrutide subreddit that I see with these pictures, let's say half of them are real, they're all starving too and still getting abs. I don't get it. What do you think?
So what issue are you running into?
I just thought it was going to work faster. Like, I spent 3 months, and I didn't start losing weight until I started introducing intermittent fasting once a week for a day.
I think you got some bunk.
I've tried 3 companies. The first one was the one that you said.
I thought it was bunk at first. Honestly, like, it comes down to one thing: it's calories in, calories out, right? So,
yeah,
you could be on a keto diet, and you could be fasting, but if you're not in a caloric deficit, you're not going to lose weight. But I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. Like, on Reddit, it's naturally going to raise your metabolic rate. So, if you ate the same and nothing changed, and then you added in retatrutide, you should start losing weight because of just the metabolic increase that you'll have from it. I think it's going to burn an extra like couple hundred calories just right off the bat, just by being on it. But I don't know. Because you're probably one of the only people, I know that's tried it, and they're like, it's not working.
Well, mom and dad didn't see much either, but they weren't really exercising. So That's
Well,
probably a
a
factor.
couple things. One, yeah, they're sedentary. Two, I don't know what their diet is like.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's not, you know, super clean. Are they getting in enough,
Protein.
macronutrients and protein, yeah,
Yeah.
and all that?
I got nothing to complain about. I think I was 179 with 80 something when I started. Got down to 156 or 154.
You were 170 and got down to one.
I'd have to look on my notes. I was between probably 175 and 180 something. And I got down to 153 or 154, I think. And
So you,
I
so you lost
think
like
it's
15
close.
pounds.
Yeah, something like that. So I
That's
know
pretty
I'm
good.
close to, I'm probably 5 to 10 pounds away from
Your goal weight.
that goal look. Yeah, weight that I want. So
What the big thing is, it has a 6-day half-life. So it takes time to build up the level that you need it to be at in your bloodstream. So like if you start at 0.2, which I think you did and mom and dad did, you're at 0.2 for the first week. Next week you're at
mhm.
0.4. So it's a compounding effect. Some
Yeah.
people, it might just be better just to hop on, just start with 1 milligram right off the
Yeah.
bat and then just go.
Well, I
But
shot 7 into my leg this morning, so we'll see what happens.
you're at 7?
There's people that go to 12, you know?
Yeah, look, everyone, at the end of the day, everyone's different. So what works for me isn't always going to work for you. And, I'm super sensitive. I went to on week 12, I think it was week 11. Week 12, I probably had 20 units left in the bottle. So I said, screw it. I'm going to take the rest of it in just one shot. And that was 2 milligrams. So I went from 1 milligram for probably weeks to 2, and I was out of my mind. I felt cracked out.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I felt like I was just completely just beside myself. Like the world was ending.
So you felt like a lot of energy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, it's weird. Like when you say energy, it's not like I took a Red Bull energy. It's like natural, focused, like determined energy, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah, no, it does.
it's not like a stimulant effect. But have you tried Mont C?
Yeah, that's the other one that I tried that I didn't really feel anything on. I'm still taking it.
And are you taking that once a week?
Mm-hmm.
And then what dose are you at?
I'd have to look. I think I was at 5 or 6.
0.5? 5 milligrams? Dude,
Half a syringe.
half a
So I
syringe.
was joking with mom and dad. I'm like, I must have like organ failure because none of this stuff is working for energy or something.
That's crazy.
I know.
I don't know. I honestly, I would literally have to be there in person and look at the bottles. Like when you look at the bottle, it's not like clumped up or anything, right?
No, man, I spin that thing for 30 minutes when I'm constituting it.
But you feel something, you just don't feel a lot.
Yeah, a little something.
Okay.
Maybe I just need like 10x what everyone takes.
I don't know. Look, my other buddy had a similar type of effect where he had to really crank up the milligram on everything. There's only one other person besides you that had similar effects like that. And he's a close friend of mine, and his was, he was taking probably like double what me and my other buddies were taking. So it's different for everyone,
Yeah. Who knows? So right now, what are you taking again?
So I started my new cycle. This will be for 12 weeks. This one's going to be, it's going to be Red Tide, and I probably will stay at 0.5 milligrams to maybe a milligram, maybe. And I'm taking Mont C. That's 0.2 milligrams a week. I don't need a lot of either of those because they're strong, like stimulating for me. And then Tesamorelin, that's going to be 1 milligram, 5 days a week, 2 days off. And then Kisspeptin, and that's going to be around 0.2 milligrams. And that one's going to be 3 times a week. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday on that one. Kisspeptin, because I get my blood work done once a month with Rhythm, which is great. It's like $100, and it's not a full panel, but it's like 24 biomarkers, and it does mainly most of the important things. And Kisspeptin did raise my testosterone. I think it raised my testosterone it raised my free testosterone and my total testosterone. Free testosterone went up by, I think, like 10%, 15%. Total testosterone, I think I was sitting at like 550 and I went up to 670. So a little over 100 points. So not nothing, but, as far as ones that do things, from what I've heard and what I've seen online and what my friends have told me, Tesamorelin, Mont-C, and Retatrutide, those seem to really work for people. But
yeah, and we're near the end,
yeah,
to getting to our goal.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's the thing. We're like slivers away. I think the other thing for you, though, isn't really, yours is more like appetite control.
Yeah, that's it. And that's why I didn't feel much appetite control from the Reta, the GLP-3. So I just introduced the GLP-1 again, and I'm, there. So
see, that's
basically all I need.
Maybe you don't need the Reta, because the Retatrutide isn't as appetite suppressant as like a GLP-1 or a GLP-2. Are you taking GLP-1 or GLP-2?
One. I'm taking the semaglutide, not the tirzepatide.
I wonder how appetite suppressing tirzepatide would be.
It's known to be like way better. So semaglutide, GLP-1, is like Ozempic, and then I believe GLP-2, tirzepatide, that's like Wegovy, and that's like way more powerful. So I'll try that one next, and then just go.
Maybe that one's just the sweet spot for you.
Maybe, yeah, true. I've known a lot of people that one's worked for. Well, Ozempic. Have you seen those commercials?
No, is there actually a commercial like that?
Oh yeah, they're trying to get all these fatties on it. So funny.
Yeah, I mean, when Retatrutide comes out, that's a $1 billion drug. That's not $1 billion drug. That's probably $1 trillion drug. You will in the future. I mean, technically we're here, right? But in the next couple of years, I'd probably say 5 years max, you will have the option to be fat. Basically, you're like,
you mean it's a choice?
Yeah, it's a choice.
Yeah,
there's no excuse at this point with modern.
And if they can get those prices low enough, then there's not an excuse.
Yeah, if you go generic, I mean, when it comes out and it's patented, Retatrutide will not have a generic, I don't think, yet, because of the patent window. But so people are going to be paying out the wazoo for that.
Man, that's going to be expensive.
Yeah, not cheap.
And good. This country could use a good shot in the arm.
Yeah, well, I think it's going to be, hold on. You've heard of RFK?
Yeah, I've heard of RFK.
Oh man, I'm shot. You've heard of RFK trying to approve the peptides by FDA?
I think y'all were talking about it. I don't know the extent of it.
Yeah. And I think it's going to be 6 peptides. It's 6 peptides. BCP157's on there. TB500. I think Mont-C is on there. So this is ones that they're
trying to get approved for public use and everything?
So exactly. They're basically not patented. They're just peptides, and they're trying to get the FDA to approve them. Instead of being in the gray market, they could be sold at, clinic officially. You could probably buy them online, right?
Right.
So as long as they're FDA approved and they're approved for human consumption, you can get them kind of, on the regular, retail market. So
we need this country to stop being so fat.
Yeah, you got to take your mods. You got to take
just to wake up,
dude. Oh my God! Speaking of that, dude, we went to, where did we go to? Man, the beef tallow place. We went to. Is it Steak and Shake?
Yeah.
God, I can't. This is gonna kill my steak.
Shake Shack.
Yeah, Steak and Shake. Yeah, we went to Steak and Shake. They got the beef tallow, dude. That's the big like RFK, like, you know,
Wait, what?
because
I haven't
RFK is
heard of this.
basically,
Hold on.
no?
No, hold on.
So RFK and his department is big on, especially like the fast food restaurants, trying to get away from, using bad oil to fry things in. So Shake Shack, I think, was one of the first to do beef tallow. They also do Wagyu. So they got
That's what I'm
Wagyu.
seeing. Yeah, Wagyu beef tallow. I don't know what
Yeah,
that is.
Wagyu. They got regular beef tallow, and then they have Wagyu. They got Wagyu tallow, I guess, if you want to get fancy with it.
Interesting. Okay. It's going to be cooked 100% all natural beef tallow, replacing
Yeah.
traditional vegetable oils
Yeah.
to tap into traditional prep methods to avoid seed oils.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
I think they're big on crypto too. Oh, but the funny thing is Brittany and I are eating there. We're in the parking lot, and I'm gathering all this, going, oh, this is like they're kind of like pro like the administration right now. That company, Shake Shack, or not Shake Shack, Steak and Shake, and we're in the parking lot, and there's like 50 Tesla EV stations, and it's just a bunch of people in Teslas eating their Steak and Shake. So I just thought it was funny. It was like, this is the RFK Elon Musk meeting grounds.
Those people are like, this is my team.
Yeah. You could tell though that you could tell that they were limited on output. They were bigger people,
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So they were, car
They
drives.
needed to get on the shot too, huh?
Yeah. Well, the car drives themselves. They probably don't do a whole lot of hard working.
Man. Jeez. Speaking of pudding, I had this funny story this morning. I wanted to tell you this. Putting, it made me, when we were talking about peptides, it made me think of this because you're just, testing things in your body to see if it works. Well, I was taking Ryan back to the airport today to fly home, and I'm dead tired because we were up doing things for like 2 or 3 days. And on the way home, I'm like falling asleep. Not falling asleep, but dazing off when I'm driving.
Mm-hmm.
And when Ryan was at the gym, I finished early like a day or two ago. And I had been listening to on Tucker, I keep hearing these ads and Rogan for nicotine pouches or nicotine gum. So I was like, I got to try this because I think they were saying it's gives you a little bit of energy, gives you a little bit of I think they might think it's like a nootropic or something, similar thing. So I had tried a little bit like a day or two ago, didn't really feel much. So today when I was driving home and I was tired, I put one in. Probably should do the gum. So I took it was the pouch and I put it right under here, so it gets absorbed.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, I'm feeling a little bit. And I finished it and I threw out the pouch, and the whole thing's kind of disgusting because it's not chewing tobacco, but it produces a lot of,
Saliva.
fluids. Yeah. Saliva.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, this is gross. And a little bit later, I'm like, my head starts pounding and it feels like, when you take something, your veins start feeling like they're coming up here. And my head starts pounding and I get dizzy. And of course, at that point, I'm driving on the road where they're doing a bunch of construction and there's metal medians on there. And I start I'm like, I got to pull over. This isn't good because I was hungry and I wasn't about to black out, but I was getting dizzy and it wasn't good. It was spinning and I'm like, this is terrible. So I pull over and it was the lowest dose they had of this.
Was it 2 milligrams?
It's 2 or 3. It was the lowest thing.
Yeah.
I needed half of that. And I felt terrible. I hadn't eaten anything. So then the place I pull over, it was this diner. So I go in there and get some food and leave. And I'm just like, what a terrible experience. I just wanted to wake up. And yeah, maybe I need to try the gum or something, but that sucked. I need a refund. So
do you remember when we lived in Hawaii and we went to go get the chewing tobacco?
Yes.
That's what,
dude, we haven't had
good
good experiences with chew or any sort of chew pouch thing.
So when we were in the Marines, I used to do the dip. I used to dip, but it was the pouches.
Oh, okay.
because it would keep you awake,
Yeah,
and
you need something.
you're all stemmed up, especially like in training, like MCT. 100%, you get a whole log, pouches. I never liked the actual just like regular dip because it gets in your teeth. It's gross. All of it's gross. Then I obviously, stopped. I think we were just smoking cigarettes at that point, you and me. And then recently, like with Zens, Tucker's ended all that,
Yeah.
like Zens are big now. People have kind of stopped vaping. It's so weird how these trends work.
Right. That's what I got was the Zen.
Yeah. And everyone's kind of thrown into the pouches and stuff. But I don't know, ever since I stopped dipping and just doing like tobacco, it gives you a crazy head rush. Like, and also it makes me a little nauseous.
Yeah.
I don't honestly need the stimulation. I'm already kind of, as long as I get a good sleep, I'm pretty good as far as stims go. But yeah,
Right.
there's been times where, also you're able to, unlike, I mean, people still swallow dip and they swallow chew, like the juice, which I never
Yeah.
did, but you can swallow, you know, the Zen juice because it's literally just flavor and nicotine. But I've
Mm-hmm.
had it to where I was, I'd be out and you have one in, then you're just kind of like, you're not spitting it out, you're just kind of swallowing it. It's just kind of like, it's gross. There was one time though
Yeah.
when I was working doing pools, and I had a customer to go meet up with to do an estimate for his pool, new construction. And just like you, I was like, oh man, like, I've tried it all, but I haven't tried the nicotine gum before. Wonder what that's like. I think I picked the strongest one because I was chewing it and probably, you can feel the buzz. It's kind of like, you can feel like the sensation in your mouth. And I probably want to say like 10 minutes in to 15 minutes in, I'm just sitting next to the house, sweating, nauseous. And I texted him like, hey, it's going to be, I'm literally outside his house. I'm like, hey, it's going to be a little bit. Because I was waiting for that thing to wear off.
They're like, who is this weirdo that
Yeah.
won't come in?
They're looking out the window and they're just seeing me sweating, gripping the steering wheel.
Was that the gum or was that the pack? Or
That was
what did they call it?
that was the gum. That was nicotine gum. That was before that was oh man, that was probably like 2019, 2020, maybe 2021. So kind of before all of the like the Zen pouches and the nicotine pouches kind of like got big.
Oh, so gum was first and then
Well, I think the gum was just around because it was basically people wanted to stop smoking. So the nicotine gum's always been around for people trying to quit smoking cigarettes. They'll do the nicotine gum. And I was like, oh, I was literally at like a 7-Eleven. I was like, I've never tried that. Let me grab that. And then that happened. So
that's what happened at the smoke shop. And I was like, do you do these? He's like, oh man, I do those all day. And I was like, good for energy? And he's like, no, just for the nicotine. I don't want to smoke. And I was like, oh, well, that's not why I want to do it. So
some people swear by it.
It wasn't fun.
But the only kind of nicotine I've really enjoyed is vaping, but vaping's terrible for you. So I had to stop.
Don't they say that's worse than cigarettes? Or is that just something people say?
That's what they say, but there's no truth to it. There's no studies. There's no long-term studies. People just hypothesize it's worse than cigarettes. I don't think it is. But then I'm also thinking, if you're getting this stuff from China and there's some Chinese batteries in there, who knows what you're, breathing in from, exported China.
Right.
Some weird battery acid.
So true.
So,
gosh. Yeah, I might try the gum, but it seems like it's the same exact thing. And I did the lowest dose and it was not fun. And I was like, why can't the things that matter, like peptides or things like that, have this kind of effect? And the things that don't matter, like the freaking nicotine gum or pouch, be the one that doesn't work. But those are two completely different things.
Yeah, it's funny. Honestly, it's all dose dependent,
Yeah.
Like,
I was thinking maybe with the gum, I can like split it in half or a fourth or something.
Yeah, and I don't think they make anything lower than like I don't think they go lower than like 2 milligrams on the nicotine pouch. You know what I do though is, you can obviously build up a tolerance not to, start another habit for you, add it to the repertoire. But you could, as soon as you have the pouch in and you're really feeling that burn, just take it out and just let that sit, because if you just have that whole thing in there, and it's sublingual too, so it goes straight into your bloodstream. So it's different. It's different than smoking it and inhaling it, because that has different. It has different passages that it has to go through. The nicotine is just straight, like anything that's dip, chew, Zins, the gum. It goes straight into your bloodstream, sublingually in your mouth. So it's a lot stronger. And honestly, I think the head buzzes from a nicotine pouch or dip or chew is way stronger than a cigarette buzz. Like, and
straight into the blood.
But I feel like you're floored too. Like,
it's not drive.
Yeah, it's not even fun.
Yeah, you couldn't even do the estimate or whatever. The meeting.
Yeah, no, I'm stuck. That was an absolute hell.
Yeah,
nicotine hell.
It's weird what we react to. Some things like it's just like we're really sensitive to, and other things not really. So,
but the crazy thing is, like when I was vaping, I was hitting that thing. You could hit that thing all day, watching a movie, chiefing it.
See,
every minute, and then
that's crazy.
And then I'll do a nicotine pouch, and I'm just floored and nauseous, and I'm like, not for me.
Well, maybe it's a good thing that it doesn't get added to the list there.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk about UFC. I was saying maybe we go into UFC 250, or we go into like McGregor versus Holloway. Which one do you want to get into? Maybe McGregor, because that was the most recent one.
Yeah, let's do McGregor Holloway. That's the most recent.
All right.
Yeah.
So do you think he's going to come back, or what do you think of that whole situation? Because we were so pumped, and then couldn't have ended worse. What do you think is going to happen with that?
I think
I'd be done.
Two things. One, I think he's coming back. He has one fight left on his contract. I think he's crazy enough and determined enough, especially with the head place that he's in right now, to come back and see this through, because that's just who Conor is. Two, it's hard to not look at all this, especially with his conversion back into the church, for God to not just go, I'm going to blow your knee out. You know what I mean?
If that's legit,
his conversion?
Yeah, like I don't know if that's legit, because he did some pretty heinous things, and now he's a believer. It's like, okay, dude. It seems like damage control for a pretty bad image for a while.
I mean, you could look at, I guess that's kind of everyone though, right? Like everyone's kind of doing damage control on their soul.
Yeah,
if you think about it, because I
don't know if he's sincere.
Look at Shia LaBeouf. Shia LaBeouf had a crazy conversion, met with Bishop Barron. He was, he seemed very fervent in his belief after he did the movie about Padre Pio. And, he had it looked like a year of commitment, and then he's out in, Mardi Gras. And just getting into debauchery, and I personally, not for me to judge, I can't, it's hard to know if someone's conversion's true or not. The guy that you probably saw this one, I think Brittany might have sent this one to you, but the founder of Elf Cosmetics, his conversion and him becoming Catholic.
Yeah, I didn't hear about that one.
And then him becoming a priest and selling everything. Crazy.
That's cool.
Crazy conversion. You know what I mean? But if you listen to his story, they didn't want him to become a priest because they didn't believe him. So, at the end of the day, it's hard to know. I guess you're just going to be judged by your fruits,
Yeah.
But he did do, apparently he did do, only God knows. Only God knows. And so he did do some very heinous, Conor apparently did do some heinous things, and I'm pretty sure he was convicted of those things, right?
Yeah, about as bad as it can get.
Yeah. But, wasn't Mike Tyson convicted too? So, I
He didn't come back though and try to use the church as a thing though. That's the only thing I'd kind of like, you know?
mean, you don't know until they're just committed for years and years.
Yeah.
It's a pretty recent thing. He seems.
I just want to know if he's going to come back or not. That's all.
Yeah. I don't know.
We'll see what happens.
I think he will. He's crazy enough. He's crazy enough to do it. And, the way that his knee blew out was from him training the same move for months and months in a row. And the way that move is, the way that you step and pivot, it puts so much strain on the ACL because it's a sideways movement on that knee. It's so much stress on like the lateral part of the knee just going sideways. And, him and his coach were like, well, we drilled that for months. And it's like, you drilled it for months. That's what happens, because that's a weird move on the knee, the way that you jump and then just pivot and all that pressure's there. It sucks because that fight card was so good. I think it had some of the best finishes. It was a really good card. It'd probably be like a 9 out of 10. It was like an 8 out of 10 leading up to Conor. And then Conor just blows his knee out. And you're just like, what's crazy is he blew the other knee out when he fought Max the first time. And it was the same injury. It was an ACL.
Yeah. He's 38. He's getting to that age.
I mean, he said he's gonna finish it. He said he's gonna go for one more.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. He said he talks a lot.
I'd put money on it.
Yeah, I put money on him just because if I were to bet on Max Holloway, it was if you bet on Max, you didn't really win anything. So sometimes it's more fun to bet on the underdog because you can like 5x your money.
Yeah, whoever bet money on that fight lost out big time.
Yeah.
I mean, how long was the fight? 30 minutes or 30 seconds?
I think it was less than that. He just sprinted out, did a kick, and then there was a couple more stand-ups, and that was it.
Yeah.
Didn't last long.
I think that's just karma.
Yeah, I had thought that too.
Yeah, I think it's just repercussions for
bad behavior.
Just everything,
Yeah. Man.
What do they call that? That's a God wink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A God wink. So, did you finish the JRE episode with that Timothy? I think is Alberino guy talking about the Nephilim. Did you finish that?
No, I didn't. I wanted to talk to you about that. What do you think about all that?
I had never heard of it from that. I mean, I have some notes here. So yeah, that is my favorite. The whole story of Enoch and the Watchers and their descendants, the Nephilim. It's my favorite story by far because that's like where all mythology comes from.
Mm-hmm.
So it's my favorite thing because it's so bizarre. It's so wild. It's the whole thing was taken out of our Bible. So I love that story. That episode, I had never heard it explained like that because we think of the Nephilim like mindless, brute giants that were just, running the place and causing havoc. Whereas according to this guy, according to Timothy, they were the reason the Nephilim the Watchers married the women and had the children because they wanted, from what he was saying, like a race that could rule Earth and set up advanced kingdoms. And I think what he was getting at was that mankind got all their tech from them. It wasn't necessarily aliens. So it's just wild.
Mankind got their tech from the giants?
The Watchers, because
got it.
The human women and the men and the Watchers, they made a deal. They're like, well, we want to get married and we want to start families and, our descendants can run things. The women were like, okay, well, we need technology. we need advancements. And that's
Mm-hmm.
where like weapons of war came from and a whole host of things. And, you know, we don't know every single thing that was exchanged, what type of technology, but that you have to finish it. I'd watch it again. In fact, I might this week at the warehouse because I'd never heard it put like that. And then, yeah, one thing I didn't understand, it wasn't addressed fully in the episode, was that, you know, the flood was. Oh, and they never went into the fact that one of the other alternative reasons that they were making these hybrid babies was to pollute the bloodline so that Christ couldn't come. And then the reason that God sent the flood was to wipe this out so that there could be a clean line, and there was, from Noah to Christ, but they didn't go over that. And then I always wondered how, because in the show they talk about this, they're still finding giants, which, you know, they didn't really say if they might have been the descendants or long descendants. And then I think it was that episode. Did you get to the part where they start talking about the giants in Afghanistan that people keep seeing?
Not too much. He started talking about the Kandahar region and the giants there. Real quick, for what you were talking about with the Watchers, that is in scripture where they basically said like the Watchers taught the women like secrets and like witchcraft. And so they believe like witchcraft is also from the Watchers, like, you know, magic and spells and things like that, which is kind of nuts.
They taught them it was either astrology or astronomy too.
Yeah, I think it was astrology and witchcraft, and then potions,
weapons of war. They called it like root making or root breaking.
Magic. Like magic and potions and stuff like that. And then, I mean, you know, that's when it says, you know, they're kind of getting too powerful. We should wipe them out. And that's when the flood came.
Yeah. So
let me ask you this. My big question is, why do you think no one wants to talk about it? Because that's kind of like a reoccurring theme in that whole episode. And also in the very beginning too. And I thought that was strange because, you know, people talk about the UFO stuff. People talk about, you know, kind of, I guess, maybe angels and demons a little bit, you know, like there's a lot of things that people are more willing to talk about, especially within the government versus the giants. And I'm still confused on that. I don't know if he gets into that later, but what was your take on that?
He does. You want me to get into it or you want to wait?
Now, let me wait. Okay. But so
he gets into it.
There is a conclusion on why. Well, there's his theory.
Yeah, there's his hypothesis.
Yeah, I heard that. His theory is about. Doesn't he talk about Baal and sacrifices and stuff like that?
Yeah, he says the occult is wrapped up in this, and a lot of these cults and Baal worship, they're trying to get the bones of these things. Because he was also saying that, you know, when you hear about the angels, the Watchers, the fathers, you could say, of the Nephilim, they were all locked up at the bottom of Mount Hermon, I think, because that's where they descended to Mount Hermon.
Yeah.
And they think that, there's a lot of stuff that went on in Mount Hermon. So anyways, they're locked inside the earth for like thousands of years. A lot of people say that when the Nephilim were wiped out, their souls can't go to heaven or hell because they weren't ever designed to exist anyway. So a lot of people say that the demons, when people get it possessed, those are the souls of the Nephilim, not fallen angels that we initially thought that were from heaven.
Interesting.
Which is crazy. So what it's saying is everything goes back to these guys, not aliens, ancient civilization coming from this or that. He was getting at it seems to come back from them, and the power and technology that came from the Watchers' knowledge, and then the archaic rule and governance that came from their descendants, the Nephilim, that made these crazy civilizations. Because I think King Nebuchadnezzar, or one of those ancient kings, they were all massive as hell, so tall, you know, and they just don't know. And it's weird. It was like, were these things ever wiped out fully? You know?
What do you
That's
think?
what I kept thinking.
What do you think aliens are?
I don't know. We can get into that. Let's see what. Let's finish up because that's a whole other thing. But do you think that's them as well?
You brought up aliens, so
Yeah.
you were
Well, if we're
saying
gonna
that.
dive into it.
Well, you were saying that you were saying that he said that aliens are tied to the Nephilim.
I don't know if he said that. It's just people tend to always focus on aliens.
Got it. And he was saying this is this
Yeah.
is more of a bigger
And,
deal.
when they talk about the technology from the pyramids, people are like
Mhm.
aliens, where it seemed like what this guy was pointing out is
It's
it
like,
came
it's
from
the
the
Nephilim.
giants.
Yeah.
And
Got it. Yeah. Yeah, that's a crazy one. Honestly, I need to finish the podcast because I don't feel like I have nearly enough information on all of that.
Yeah.
There were specific details in Exodus about giants being in the promised land and then not wanting to go. So, like, the Bible mentions giants a lot.
Yeah, and I think that the word for giant in Hebrew or just large is Nephilim. So I wonder if they're descendants or just extremely tall people. Because I feel like God would have wiped them all out.
The Nephilim?
Yeah.
Do you think then that, like, what do you think about the cases of them being in Afghanistan and like Kandahar and like the Spec Ops? That Spec Ops story that he mentioned is not the first one I've heard. And you know what's funny is there was a military buddy who knew someone personally that was on base when that mission happened. And he told me
Did he
that.
have any
He
insight?
told me that it was the exact same story.
Wow.
And then I've heard it on Joe Rogan with that guy that does one of the goats of arm wrestling. He told the same story too.
Yeah, he
But
was Canadian Special Forces.
Yeah, my buddy Jake told me the exact same story, and he was infantry, so that he has associations and ties to that kind of, to those guys. And so his story was the exact same thing. And I was like, I don't know if this is just a story everyone's telling. Like it's just like,
Right.
Hey, leak this information in. But yeah, apparently they slaughtered the first group, a second group went, and apparently these are also Spec Ops, goes there, kills the guy, and then they come with a chopper and put the body onto a pallet.
The pallet, right?
Yeah, and then bring him out with the chopper. I'm guessing that is then how that body gets to that airbase. And then the C-130, they put him on the C-130, which is just nuts. I think it's also interesting because, he did have talks about it conflicting with like evolution and stuff like that. I thought that's also an interesting point. You know what I mean? Because
how would it conflict with evolution?
Well, I think, if you have if you're of the theory, especially with a lot of the museums, apparently they're hiding the bodies. I was just like, if there was some crazy archaeological discovery, you think they would be like, bro, look at this,
Right.
look at this 8-foot, 12-foot guy that we have and put him on display. It would just, I thought that was also interesting.
It is weird how you say like they're releasing so much stuff on aliens, UFOs. They've in the museums we have all of these dinosaur remains of skeletons, but if that's true that they're this close-lipped about the giants and it all, because that guy in there was talking to people he's known and personally, I guess, talked to that were like, when he starts asking, they're like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Very weird.
What are you asking? They don't answer his questions, and they're like, be careful. And so it's like, okay,
couldn't it be more obvious that something real weird's going on
Yeah.
in deep here,
Yeah. The story of the kids like crawling into the cave and then having to sleep and like stay above where the giant's body is buried, where the bones are, and like something convenes with the children. You know what I mean? That's weird.
Wait, what happened? I don't remember that part. It was long as heck, so I might have dazed out.
He was talking about the island that has the most megalithic structures, is known by the people that live on that island. I guess it's close to Italy. It's known to also have underneath each megalithic structure buried bones of these giants. And during more ancient times, the community, like a rite of passage for the kids, I guess adolescents becoming a man or becoming a teenager or whatever, there's a small door in these structures, and the kid would crawl in and they would seal it, and they would leave the kid in for so many days. And apparently they think that the bones of these giants are like basically gods or heroes of old or the greats. And that child being there would absorb that energy of being one of the greats, of one of the giants, that kind of heroic kind of energy. But it also is kind of weird because it's like children, and then it kind of gets into like, you know.
It always goes back to the kids, dude.
Yeah, it's weird.
So weird.
It's so weird. Yeah, like sacrifices and stuff. So,
yeah,
I don't know. It's a weird one, dude. But I mean, that makes sense why people want to talk about everything but the giants.
Yeah, because maybe that's like where it all goes back to. We started listening to that stuff for a while, and we always thought it was a crazy topic, but this guy's tying it into like, that's where, from what I can tell and what I remember, because apparently I did miss some stuff, because it's like, I don't know, 3 hours, and that's an episode you have to be locked in on.
Yeah,
like really
sure.
well.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just crazy that a lot of the things that we think that it might have done these things in ancient civilizations or what have you, like it might just go back to the Watcher.
I mean, it kind of makes sense. It makes sense. Also, kind of a crazy concept that because I guess everything that is any conscious being has some type of spirit, like angels are spirits, demons are spirits. Then you have this weird hybrid of human angel or human fallen angel. And then you have this really effed up spirit of the giant.
Imagine being one of them. I didn't ask to be here.
Yeah.
My spirit is tied to this place because I can't go to heaven or hell. I'm not an angel and I'm not a human.
Yeah.
Talk about an existence. I can't reproduce.
Just to end it on this, did you hear about, I don't know if he goes into this because the Book of Enoch is very interesting, but I don't know how much research you've done or dived into Enoch. But apparently, I thought this was cool. Well, not cool, but interesting. That the leader of the Watchers failed their job, and that leader was then casted into the abyss. So not like a heaven or hell, but almost like a purgatory area for like 10,000 years or something like that.
Yeah.
Basically, he took the fall for his men, and I thought that was interesting. And then also, like, you start thinking about like Zeus and all of the Greek gods, and it's like, okay, are those angels and demons, or those Watchers, or are those Nephilim? You know what I mean? It's all very interesting stuff. Like, like Zeus and all of those guys.
I think it all probably goes back to them, if what he's saying is accurate.
Yeah.
And man, he had some deep knowledge on it. That's for sure. We could do a whole week of podcasts on that.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. 100%. It's a crazy topic.
What else you got anything you want to go over?
Yeah. So, did you see the Odyssey yet?
No, that's actually something else I was thinking about talking about, but I didn't because I didn't know.
That kind of ties into what we were just talking about.
Oh yeah, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, like it's ancient Greek mythology. It's good. But you gotta watch it.
We can get into it. I'm not really that excited about it anyway. So go ahead and.
All right, I won't do any spoilers because the things that I have issues with aren't about like plot and all of that.
No, all right.
Cinematography, great. Music, awesome. Acting, great. But Christopher Nolan has this weird thing that he does with his movies where he picks actors and actresses, and I'm like, like just a
Like
weird.
he'll pick from his family that started with The Dark Knight. You
Yeah. Like it's just,
okay.
I don't know. It's like, one, you don't need to use the same actors every time.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Pick someone new.
Yeah.
Two, a lot of these actors and actresses that he picks are terrible picks for that role. Like they just don't. Also, this movie already has Matt Damon. You don't need 20 other famous actors.
Yeah.
Because then I start going, like, it kind of takes you out of the movie when you have so many famous people.
They're distracting.
100%. It's a little distracting. But the acting's really. It's just the weird thing was just the character. But that's a Christopher Nolan thing. Like Nolan loves kind of picking weird role. Like he just But it is an ensemble cast. That was kind of the only issue I had. I was like, if they had just had Matt Damon and then a bunch of no ones, I think that would have been more of a better fit. Because Matt Damon's already kind of distracting because he's such a big actor,
Right.
you know. But as far as like the movie sets, the cinematography, it's all real. There's no CGI. Like everything that you see actually is happening on camera. It's an insane movie. The pacing's good. The plot's good. There's a couple weird things where they kind of start preaching at you near the end. But yeah, I mean, overall, like I thought it was a really good movie. But again, it was one of those movies I was so hyped for that hype never meets the expectations. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you will be disappointed a little bit. So
What I thought was weird is I didn't know how wacky Rotten Tomatoes scoring system is. Apparently, to get a positive, for a review to be considered positive, it needs to be like 60% or more to be certified fresh. And if you actually took into account how math should be done, I think the Odyssey from the audience score should have like a 70% or something. Because there was a lot of people that weren't happy with it, but it has like a 97 or something. You only need a little bit for it to be considered positive. I don't know the exact math. I was watching a video on it, and it's not accurate like you would think.
Interesting.
Like a bunch of 1 stars
don't add up.
Know.
Like they don't outweigh the 5 stars. It's not equal math.
It's not.
It's
weighted. It's not like a Google review. It's not like a Google review for a restaurant.
Yeah, that sounds like something Rotten Tomatoes would do.
Right. And everybody goes off Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
Like, should I watch this or not? At least I do. I'm always like, is this worth viewing?
Have you checked out Metacritic?
No.
Metacritic's cool because Metacritic is an amalgamation of multiple reviews from different sites, from other review sites. So it basically takes all of the review sites and then adds that to a score. And to score.
Sorry.
No, you're good. What is it?
This is what I'm saying. On the I never knew this. This makes more sense. The Odyssey, the critic reviews is an 88. Universal acclaim, so that's based on user score 5.3.
That sounds about right. Yeah. And the users are very harsh on Metacritic. Like they're hard. They go hardcore because I look at all the video game reviews that they do on there.
Yeah.
To score high on something on Metacritic the user score, it's got to be a hot game.
Funny. Hold on. I want to see what Hail Mary Project got.
Hail Mary, and that's what I was thinking of too this whole time. Like this week is you've seen Hail Mary, and then I was comparing it in my mind for a couple days to Odyssey. Hail Mary is an insane, like it's just a good movie.
Yeah. I would put it up there with Shawshank Redemption, and that's like my number 1.
Yes. 100%.
So the critics gave it an 8.2 on Metacritic.
Got it. And then what did the user give? What's the user score?
No, the critics gave it a 77. The users gave it an 8.2.
8.2. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, they're wrong.
The
users? That movie. Yeah, everyone's wrong, dude. That movie was crazy.
It was awesome.
Yeah, I cried, I think, like 2/3 of the movie.
Me too. I was like,
Sobbing.
man, if this doesn't go how I don't want to spoil it, but if it doesn't go how it should, I'm gonna be really upset. And then it was just a great ending, everything, man.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. No, fantastic movie. Also, I really like Ryan Gosling. He's a good actor.
yeah,
He's
he
kind of
is.
aged well into like acting.
Yeah, he looks way younger
Mm-hmm.
than he is. A lot of those guys do. I was thinking we could, unless you had something else, I was thinking we could end on a story, like a story from the Marines, or maybe how we got the channel name,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look,
or a
I got a bunch
Hawaii
of other
story.
topics. Just depends on how long you want to roll for.
Oh yeah, I'm good to go. I thought you wanted to do an hour, but yeah, let's keep going. What other topics you got? What you got for me?
We can
Whoops.
let's do this. Let's do like let's do a little speedball. Well, let's not do a speedball. I mean, what is it? Fastball? We're just gonna rip through a couple
Speed
topics.
questionnaire.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
how about have you done any? First one would be like AI and politics. Have you been hearing anything about that recently?
Not politics, but yeah, when Ryan was here, we were looking over some AI stuff, and it was really creepy. Have you heard anything?
What do you think? So specifically, the government shutting down certain models of AI because they're too powerful, because there are cybersecurity threats,
Wow.
and then public companies switching from those domestic AI companies to Chinese ones because the Chinese ones aren't getting throttled and they're not getting capped because they're more powerful. So what do you think about, because I'm so big into AI, but basically right now what's happening is there are models that are too powerful for security purposes that the government's like, oh, it's a threat. So like Microsoft is kind of dropping its use of ChatGPT, OpenAI, and they're moving to, I think it's Kimi, which is, or no, it's Kimi, or it's DeepSeek, I think. And that's kind of a Chinese model.
Whoops. Hold on. Let me check my battery real quick before we go into this. All right, hold on, brother.
Yeah, you're good.
I got 40. Okay. Yeah, I'm about at 50%, so that's good. I just because it's sideways, I can't see my battery.
Perfect. Yeah.
So what was the question?
All right. So question is, what do you think about the AI companies and the government intervening into the private sector? Not uncommon. They do that all the time now because the AI models are too powerful. Then these companies that use these models, like Microsoft uses OpenAI, ChatGPT. They're going to switch, and they're switching over to Chinese models because the government can't shut those down. So what do you think about, because that's the competition right now. It's always us in China, right? So what do you think about regulation as far as AI? Because the issue, and this is the argument, right? The argument is like, these might not be bad things that the government's doing because maybe they are a threat to like internal things going on in the States. But you then are losing the race in AI to China.
Yeah. I think the government needs to do way more to get a hold on AI because whenever you let the free market go wild, they're going to go as wild as they can, go as buck wild as they can to maximize profits and be as competitive as they can with their own competition. Them going to Chinese companies is damn near, in my opinion, a national security threat because that's our enemy. It's just not blatantly stated. But if these companies are going to Chinese based, whatever your term was for it, then yeah, maybe they should be investigated because you have to put a hold on these people. But you also want to remain very competitive on a world stage because AI is taking over. But I do think that maybe it should be a more government controlled thing. Not that they do anything 100% correctly, but if the free market is left just to run wild, with AI, it's not going to end in a good place. And there's things I was seeing over the weekend and with AI when I was looking into it, and it's getting scary. So
Yeah.
what do
Yeah,
you think?
and that's kind of where I am too, right?
Mhm.
The government might have a really good point, but it's like at what cost? Okay, we lose the AI race to China, but everyone that's talking about this stuff, everyone that's like a big proponent of going, no, like let us run wild, let us be free, let us fly. It's all the tech bros. You know
Yeah,
what I
they're not
mean?
really
So
trustworthy.
no, they're not. They're not. They're like Peter Thiel. He's into
They're weird.
weird stuff. All right, I got another one for you.
What you got for?
What do you think about? Done? Have you heard anything about the economy and the Federal Reserve raising interest rates, kind of pulling back, maybe a mini recession?
No, they've been talking about that for a while, so I don't
Yeah.
know if there's any like updated news on it or not. Is there?
No, I think the big thing is that there's, like I think people are thinking the market's going to pull back, and the Federal Reserve is funny because the guy that they appointed to the Federal Reserve, which was supposed to be, because they got out, I think it was Jerome Powell, he got out, and then the guy that they appointed into there was supposed to be Trump's kind of right-hand man, but he's not listening to Trump. So it's
Oh
like,
no.
but this guy has ties to the banks, and I think he was also associated with the Federal Reserve before this, and might have been on the committee or the council or whatever. But I don't know. I thought, you can't really trust the bankers.
Yeah, no, there's probably some sort of market disruption coming, especially with Iran, the amount of spending we have, the inflation going crazy. Yeah, it's only a matter of time, unfortunately.
That leads to my next thing. What about Iran and the U.S.? Have you been updated on that? Because I have not.
Nothing crazy. I mean, they've resumed full on strikes. That MOU back in, I think it was June, fell through. We already, I think, had been over that, but yeah, there's no way out of this one in terms of a positive outcome, because where if we pull out, in my opinion, it's just going to be worse than what it was. And Trump and the administration know that Iran has all the cards because they can take a beating, they can take sanctions. They've been dealing with that since the 80s. And if they control 20 to 30% of the world's exported oil and just oil that goes through there, they have all the cards. And we're just getting bent over right now with that. And they can do whatever they want, realistically. And because we won't do a ground invasion, nor should we, because we started this, they're gonna win in the end, or this is just gonna get dragged out forever, which is probably what's gonna happen.
You think
Unfortunately,
it's like a war of attrition?
I don't think there is
What do you think the solution
I don't know.
is?
He needs to just pull out, say it was a victory, because he likes to say things that aren't true, and if you say it long enough, it'll just become reality in his world. So
Yeah.
like, just pull out, say it was we won, we killed our leader, everything's great, it's back to normal, everything will resume, the strait's open, we did what we were supposed to, it's over with. But yeah,
You know this source, and this source will remain unnamed, but I'm pretty sure you were in this chat where basically Iran, that play is a play against China.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I remember that.
Same with Venezuela.
Hmm.
So what do you think? Because you know about this way more than I do, especially like, geopolitical stuff, and that's more like history's more of your alley than it is mine. What do you think? What as far as like, would you just pull out completely from Iran, or
Yeah, I would, and I would have probably never gone in because like we all, especially people in our generation, have deep knowledge and PTSD from the sand wars.
yeah,
So we know that nothing ever good comes from getting involved in these tussles. no matter what. Nobody was able to ever successfully do it, from the Russians in the 80s in Afghanistan to us. Like no one is, I don't even think, like Alexander the Great went into Afghanistan and even he couldn't do it. He couldn't even pull it off. And if he can't, it's just all of those countries are extreme fortresses. They're surrounded by like impossible terrain and mountains. And Iran is even worse. It's like a mix of having the greatest, it's like a breadbasket, like the way, like all of their land, it's so rich. And then they're just surrounded by mountains. It's just a disaster. You don't want to get involved with those people. And they'll fight to the death. They're like the Persians or something else. You don't want to just get involved with them. That was stupid. I just should have never done it.
Dude, maybe they're so powerful because of the giant bones that they have.
Oh, Iran? Oh, Afghanistan. Got it. Yeah.
Afghanistan.
Right.
They got all the giant
For whatever
bones.
reason, yeah, they're still walking around in sandals, and living in huts, but like they can never be conquered. So it's because of the giant bones they sleep on top of.
Man. All right, that's all I got for my speedball questions.
All right. Let's see. Yeah, how about we tell them about where we got the name of the podcast from?
Yeah. You're a better storyteller than I am, so
I don't know. Well, we were on vacation to some place, I think it was in Florida, and so me and Tyler were just walking around out on the, so stupid. I don't know how we got out into the rocks, but we went into the ocean, as far as I remember, and it was just surrounded by like, there was rocks in the ocean. It was like foot deep, and I think we might have swam out and tried to get back in, and it was hard with the current. I have no idea. I can't remember. And we ended up having to walk on these rocks, and they tore us to shreds. And we were all, it was bad. Like our feet were all jacked up, and we both looked so miserable out there. And then we get back to like the resort we were staying at, and we get in the hot tub, and this guy is just sitting there in the hot tub. We're all talking, and he goes, I guess, like, what are y'all up to today? And we told him that entire story and got cut up. And he just goes, now that's crazy. Out of nowhere, like his tone changed. He was like doing stories and talking, and we told him that. He's like, now that's crazy. So that's where that one came from.
This guy reminded me of like a Key West local, just like like wakes up, margarita, Jimmy Buffett.
Yeah.
Like just one of those guys. I think we swam. I don't know what our intention was. Were we looking to get the crab that were out there? Were we catching crab?
Oh yeah, I think that might have been what it was.
And I think this was like a mollusk reef. It was either mollusk or it was some type of clam shell. And I think it might have been low tide when we were coming back.
Yeah.
So we couldn't swim and just got annihilated and walked the whole way. There was only one option, which was to walk. Did we also take a deuce in the ocean too? Was that the same? Was that the same?
I think I did that. That was on, I think that, I don't know if it was that day, but we did it at a certain point, I think.
Little floating log cabin. Man, that was a good trip. But we did catch crab at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if people liked them because they were kind of like,
they weren't like the crab you eat. These are like spider crabs or something.
They were kind of gross, right?
They were terrible.
Yeah. I think we boiled them and it was kind of like the water was all muddy and murky.
You probably got sick.
I don't think I ate them because I'm allergic. Yeah. I think I avoided that.
Man, that sucks.
But yeah, that was a stranger encounter from GTA. 100%. Yes. I think we were in the hot tub and we lifted up our feet and showed him our feet. And that's when he was like, no, that's crazy. He was probably buzzing too, because I think it was like later in the afternoon. He was probably a couple of drinks deep, and he was just like, it's one of those guys.
He absolutely was. Man, fun times.
That's a good story. One of the 1,000 stories.
Yeah, that's one of the main ones where we get our inside joke line from. Like, now that's crazy. And it comes from that. Hilarious.
Love it. Love it. All right. You want to wrap it up there?
Sure.
Sick.
Let's do it.
All
Guys,
right.
make sure to like and subscribe and comment. We respond to all comments.